Imagine you are comparing two investments. One gives you your money back faster, the other gives you more money overall, but later. So how do you judge which one is better? That is where internal rate of return, or IRR, comes in. IRR is one of the core tools used in finance to evaluate investments and compare projects. In the next few minutes, I'll show you what IRR means, how to interpret it, and where it can be useful. At a high level, internal rate of return, or IRR, tells you the annualized rate of return implied by an investment's cash flow. In other words, you invest money today, you receive cash flows in the future, and IRR tells you the rate of return that links these cash flows together. More precisely, IRR is the discount rate that makes the present value of the future cash flows exactly equal to the initial investment. That is the key idea. IRR is the rate that makes the amount you pay today equal to the present value of what you expect to receive in the future. You will also often hear this described another way. IRR is the discount rate that makes NPV equal to zero. Here is the formula in a way that is easy to interpret. On the left side, you have the initial investment, which is the amount you pay today. On the right side, you have the present value of the future cash flows. IRR is the discount rate that makes those two sides equal. So think of this as a balancing equation. You are asking what discount rate makes the value of all these future cash flows exactly equal to what I am investing today. CF sub T means the cash flow in a particular year. So if the investment pays you $50,000 in year one, that is the cash flow for year one. If it pays another $50,000 in year two, that is the cash flow for year two. T is just the year number. And just like with NPV, the farther out a cash flow is, the more heavily it gets discounted. The important difference is that here IRR is unknown. With NPV, you usually know the discount rate and calculate the net present value. With IRR, you know the cash flows and you solve for the discount rate that makes the equation balance. The initial investment equals the discounted value of year one's cash flow plus the discounted value of year two's cash flow plus the discounted value of year three's cash flow, and so on. Now let's make this concrete with actual numbers. Suppose you invest $100,000 today and receive $50,000 at the end of each year for the next 3 years. Using the IRR framework, we are looking for the discount rate that makes the present value of those 3 future cash flows exactly equal to the $100,000 initial investment. If we try a 10% discount rate, the present value of those future cash flows is still above $100,000. If we try 25%, the present value drops below $100,000. So the IRR has to be somewhere in between those two rates. For these cash flows, the IRR is about 23.4%. That means 23.4% is the discount rate that makes the two sides of the equation balance. In practice, you would usually solve for IRR using Excel, a financial calculator, or investment software because this is typically found through iteration rather than simple algebra. Once you have the IRR, the next step is interpretation. If your required return is 12% and the IRR is 23.4%, the project would generally be attractive. Whereas if your project was riskier, so you demanded a required return of 30%, that same project would generally fall short. In general, a higher IRR suggests a stronger return profile, but IRR should not be interpreted in isolation. Context matters. What counts as an attractive IRR depends on the risk of the investment and the return investors require for bearing that risk. In corporate finance, companies often compare a project's IRR to the firm's cost of capital when evaluating capital budget decisions. In real estate, IRR is commonly shown alongside metrics like equity multiples so investors can see both annualized return and total money returned. And in private markets, IRR is widely used because the timing of cash flows matters a great deal. Before you start using IRR for everything, there are a few important limitations to understand. First, IRR can be interpreted as assuming interim cash flows are reinvested at the IRR itself. If the IRR is very high, that may be unrealistic. Second, IRR is scale blind. A very high IRR on a small project may still create less total wealth than a lower IRR on a much larger project. Third, if cash flows change direction more than once, you can end up with multiple IRRs, which makes the metric really hard to interpret. That is why IRR is most often useful when paired with other metrics, especially NPV. So remember, IRR is the discount rate that makes the present value of future cash flows equal to the initial investment. You compare it to your required return to judge whether an investment generally creates value, but IRR should usually be used alongside other metrics like NPV. If you want to learn about IRR in more detail, along with other corporate finance concepts, check out the Financial Planning and Analysis or FP&A certificate program from Wharton Online. You can get $300 off using my coupon code RYANOC. Use the link in the description or pinned comment. And subscribe for more finance videos just like this one.